Good afternoon, everybody. Pigskin Pete here. Happy Monday to everybody. We're all sitting around and awaiting the word of whether or not Kyler Murray will enter the draft. He's going to announce that today. By the time this video is uploaded, he may have already announced it, but I'm just going to continue with this video under the assumption that he is. I think he's going to, and he made an ultimatum yesterday with the Oakland Athletics, saying he wanted a $15 million contract or he was going to enter the draft. And they sent their executives to talk with this guy and try to talk him out of entering the draft and see what they could work out financially. My opinion is this guy just wants to play football. I think he likes playing baseball and he likes the money aspect of it, but I just feel like he loves football more. And if he does enter the draft, that will prove me to be correct. Now, whether or not you believe Kyler Murray is a viable option to be a starter in the NFL at any point in his career is completely irrelevant to this conversation. He's got a first-round grade. Does that mean he'll go in the first round? Absolutely not, but he does have a first-round grade from NFL scouts. And first-round NFL money is hard to pass up. And also, this is something I touched on a few months ago when this subject came up, is there's a big difference as far as fandom goes, fame, if you're just another center fielder in the major leagues, or if you're a starting quarterback in the NFL. I mean, you're talking about you'll be one of the 32 most famous guys in the country, in the sporting world anyway. And so, I don't know. We'll see. But what I thought would be interesting to do is to look at these draft picks, the order of the draft picks, which teams need a quarterback, which teams could possibly draft a quarterback. Now, you have Dwayne Haskins. You've got Drew Lock, you've got Will Grier, you've got Ryan Finley, and of course you've got Kyler Murray and a handful of other ones. So the order that these quarterbacks go in, I mean, the general consensus seems to be that Dwayne Haskins will be the first quarterback off the board in the draft, and I think that's probably true. But where does Kyler Murray fall in that pecking order? Does he go ahead of Will Grier? Does he go ahead of Ryan Finley? Does he go ahead of Drew Lock? Your guess is as good as mine. The NFL coaches seem to shock us every year with the order that they take these players in. So nobody really knows. But let's just look at the order of the draft here, and we can eliminate some of these teams and maybe see where he might possibly fit with others. So the first pick in the draft is going to go to the Arizona Cardinals. Take that off the list. They just spent their #1 draft pick last year on Josh Rosen. And I don't think they're going to abandon him and just say that was a waste of a first-round pick. They're going to try to build the team around him. I'm not a big believer in Rosen, but that's besides the point. #2 on the list, the 49ers with the second pick. Now, they have Jimmy Garoppolo, their $100 million man. They're not getting rid of him. I know he got injured this year, but they're not drafting a quarterback with the first pick. No way. #3, the Jets. They had spent their first pick in the draft last year on Sam Darnold. Sam Darnold looked pretty good this year, and I think that he's going to be the guy they build the team around, so no way in hell the Jets draft a quarterback with their first pick. #4, the Raiders. Now, this was an interesting one, but if trying to figure out John Gruden's frame of mind is basically impossible, and even the Oakland Raider fans would tell you that. But from what I can gather, John Gruden is committed to Derek Carr. I don't think that he thinks that the problems with the team lie at the quarterback position, and you may disagree with that, but I'm just going off of what John Gruden says. So I'd be shocked and amazed if John Gruden took a quarterback with one of his 3 picks in the first round. I think they got like 3 picks because of all those trades they made with Khalil Mack and Amari Cooper, man. But anyway, I think that the Raiders are going to go defense, try to replace that pass rush. Even though you really can't replace Khalil Mack, you can try to, and they need a pass rush, so I think they'll go defense, all in the first round. So take them off the list. #5, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Shockingly enough, they seem to be committed to Jameis Winston. They're going to re-sign this guy and make him their guy, from what I can tell. Now, I could be wrong. They got a new coach coming in there, but we'll all find out together. Nonetheless, everything that they're saying at this point is that they're not looking for a quarterback, certainly not in the first round. So I'm going to take them at their word and say that Jameis Winston will be the quarterback next year and for years to come. So take them off the list. #6 pick goes to the New York Giants. Now, this is interesting because everybody in New York and around the country believes that Eli Manning is on the way out, whether it's this year or the year after that or the year after that. He's at the end of his career no matter which way you look at it. He might be out this year. So the chances that the Giants do draft a quarterback in the first round are pretty high. Now, that doesn't mean they're going to get Kyler Murray. They could go Haskins. They could go any of these other guys, but you never know. And so the Giants are certainly one to look at taking a quarterback. Then Kyler Murray, OBJ, Saquon Barkley. These are three very high-profile guys, and would that not be an extremely interesting fit? Although if they do take one, I think it'll be Haskins. But anyway, the Giants, keep an eye on them. Number 7 pick in the draft, the Jacksonville Jaguars. Blake Bortles, as I've been telling all of you for the past, I don't know, how long has he been there? 4 years, 5 years, whatever it is. 4 or 5 years too long, and this guy's terrible. Talk about a bust. They kept this guy around way too long. They could have drafted Patrick Mahomes. They could have drafted Deshaun Watson. They could have drafted Mitch Trubisky, and they hit a big, giant whiff on all of them. So anyway, I do think the Jaguars are going to draft a quarterback, and wow, what an interesting fit that would be if Kyler Murray went there. So we'll see. That's one to keep an eye on. So we have 2 now, the Jaguars and the Giants, possible suitors for Murray. Number 8 on the list for the 8th pick in the draft is the Detroit Lions. They just paid Matthew Stafford like $1 billion and signed him for like 1 million years. So no, they're not getting rid of Stafford, and quite frankly, Stafford's not the problem with the Lions. They've got problems pretty much everywhere else. But no, the Lions won't be drafting a quarterback in the first round. Number 9, the Buffalo Bills. They just spent their first pick in the draft last year on Josh Allen. Josh Allen looks pretty good. You can debate me on whether or not he's going to be a great. Who cares? Doesn't matter. They're not drafting a quarterback in the first round, so move on from them. To number 10 pick in the draft, the Denver Broncos. The Denver Broncos have swung and missed and swung and missed and swung and missed on quarterback after quarterback after quarterback. I do think they're going to go after a quarterback. I realize they've got, what's-his-face? It doesn't even matter. The guy they picked up from the Vikings. He's a good quarterback, but not a great quarterback. He's not going to lead them to a Super Bowl championship, even though the Broncos are known to be a defensive team. John Elway, Hall of Fame quarterback. I mean, you would think this guy would get it right with a quarterback, but, I mean, they can't they just can't seem to hit on one. I would not be surprised to see the Broncos draft a quarterback. Knowing John Elway, though, and I don't know him, but knowing him the way that I think I know him, which I don't, is that he will not be drafting Kyler Murray even if he does get a quarterback. But anyway, that's one that's up a small 5% chance they could possibly pick up Murray. Number 11 pick, the Bengals. Now, this is interesting because they have the red BB gun, the red rifle, whatever his name is, the Dr. Hare, I call him. The guy who can get them to the playoffs year after year after year, except for this year, and never win a game. You can blame that on Marvin Lewis. You can blame that on Andy Dalton. But poor A.J. Green's been sitting there as one of the top receivers in the league, and this guy's stuck on a bad team with bad coaches and an overrated quarterback. I still think that I'd be surprised if they got rid of Dalton yet and used their first pick in the draft on a quarterback. But it's completely possible. I'd put that at about 5%. So while I don't think it's likely, we'll see what they do there, but I'm not pulling the trigger on that one. The number 12 pick in the draft, the Green Bay Packers. Enough said. No, they have Aaron Rodgers. They're not picking a quarterback. 13 pick in the draft, the Miami Dolphins. This is the one that if you watch TV or read Twitter or Facebook or just do any sort of research at all, is the one that if he goes in the first round, a lot of people are projecting that Kyler Murray would fit in the Dolphins system, and based on the other teams that may draft ahead of him, may take some of these other guys first, and that's where he would fall. So I'd say out of all these teams so far, and we still got more picks to go, out of all these teams so far, I'd say the Dolphins are the most likely, if he goes in the top 15 or top 13, since they have the 13th pick, that he would go there. So keep a very, very close eye on the Dolphins and Kyler Murray. Number 14 pick goes to the Falcons. They need a quarterback, but they love Matt Ryan. I mean, this guy, they're not getting rid of him, even though they need to. But anyway, the Falcons aren't going to draft a quarterback. So number 15 pick, the Washington Redskins. This is another one to watch out for, very similar to the Dolphins. So they traded and got Alex Smith. Alex Smith had the horrific injury. There's really no way of knowing if Alex Smith is going to be available to play next year or ever, because that's how bad his injury was. It was one of the worst injuries since Joe Theismann, and a lot of people compared it to that. So I don't know. I'd say it's probably a pretty low percentage that they would take Kyler Murray, but that is one to look at, and they very well may need to draft a quarterback in the first round. Number 6, the Panthers. No, they're not drafting a quarterback in the first round. 17, the Browns. No, they're not drafting a quarterback. They got Baker Mayfield. He will be their guy for a while. I told you so. Number 18, the Vikings. No. They have Kirk Cousins, and they just gave this guy $50 billion, and so they can't afford to get rid of him, and nobody's going to take that contract off their hands. If they have a brain cell left in their head after partying in the 70s, they will not do that, so I take the Vikings off the list. Number 19, the Titans. No. Marcus Mariota, even though this guy gets hurt just by looking at a football, they're not going to get rid of him. He's their guy, so the Titans, no. Number 20, the Steelers, no. Ben Roethlisberger probably should be replaced, but it won't be this year, so no. 21, Seattle, no. They have Russell Wilson. 22, the Ravens, no. They're putting all their eggs in the Lamar Jackson basket, and even if they do draft a quarterback at some point in this draft, just in case things don't work out with Jackson, it's not going to be in the first round, so no. 23, the Texans, obviously, no. They have Deshaun Watson. 24, another pick for the Raiders, and I've already said my piece on the Raiders. Now, it is possible that the Raiders could use their first maybe pick for a defensive guy and then draft a quarterback later in the first round. And like I said, they have multiple picks. I still don't think they're going to draft a quarterback at all. Now, the rest of these 25 through 32, I did just teams that I don't think are gonna take a quarterback. So that really only leaves. Let's go through here. How many teams I picked here? 1 Giants, 2 Jags, 3 Broncos, 4 Bengals, 5 Dolphins, 6 Washington. So that leaves really, and if he goes in the first round, and that's a big if. Like I said, first round grade does not always mean he's going to be taken in the first round. But there you go. That's basically, as far as I'm concerned, there's only really 6 teams where he possibly could go if he is drafted in the first round. So you let me know what you think. Which team do you think would take him if he goes in the first round? If he'll go in the first round at all, let me know that too. Which team do you think that he fit best in? Are you a fan of a team, whether it's any of these teams I just mentioned or any other team that would like to have Kyler Murray? Let me know all of that too. But this is going to be the most fun draft in a while. And I will be doing live draft coverage when that happens. That's not for a while now, but I'll talk to you plenty between now and then. But anyway, there you go. There you have it, folks. Kyler Murray, NFL, Pigskin Pete, checking out.